Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to another episode of A Voice of Youth. So today I am joined with another guest, returning guest, and we are talking about Hola Mohalla. We will be going over the history of Hola Mohalla, talking a bit about it and how it's still celebrated today itself and some other things here and there. So joining me today is Gursahej Singh once again. Let's introduce him now. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. All right, so back again with another history episode or so, we can say, for Voice of Youth, talking about Hola Mohalla. Basically, I think, do you want to just get straight into it so we don't run out of time per se for this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's just get into it. You know, as we all know, that Holi itself is an ancient Hindu festival that's been celebrated all throughout South Asia. During Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj's time, because, you know, Sikhi, all the Sikhs, all the Sikhs, Hinduism was the dominant religion of the time. All the people, majority of the Sikhs, they were from the Hindu religion, and that culture of Hindu celebrate Holi with all the lust and glamour. So Sikhs at the time of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj, they went to Holi to celebrate Holi. When they came back, and this was in 1700, 1 year after Khalsa was formed by Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj in 1699. So in 1700, when Sikhs go to Holi, to the carnival of Holi, they come back disappointed. They go to Satguru and say, Satguru, that we went to Holi and we are utterly disappointed because, you know, Kukaram is happening there, sin is happening there. People are the ones that the righteous religion of Holi is being turned into a place of bad evils. People are assaulting women. They are, you know, doing all the sinful things. Then Satguru at that time, Satguru decided that, you know, that this was the time of Holi. It was something righteous, a thing which had a purpose. Because Holi was celebrated, if we go back to the history, it's being when Bhagat Prahlad was saved by Vaheguru, that's by Holika. That's the reason Holi was celebrated. And Sadhguru said that when it has lost its purpose, it has been corrupt. So I feel from this...
Great. If I just ask then, so what at the time, what was Holi like then that it was considered sinful then? Do you know what it would have been like?
What we read in Iतिहास is that, you know, people, there's a political dynamic to this. So the Indian caste system, they have divided all the festival according to their caste. So they gave Holi to the lowest of the caste, the Shudra caste, and they said that, you know, let the Shudras play with cow dung, with the mud, and with all things, and they would just, you know, throw mud around each other and let them celebrate. And the highest caste, the Brahmins, they kept the bigger festivals like Diwali or Dashera to themselves.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That caste system has been a very it's been very corrupt, and that the hierarchy of the caste system plays a big role when it comes to those Indian festivals. So Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj said that, you know, now my Khalsa will not play Holi, my Khalsa will play Hola. So in 1700, Guru Sahib Ji issued Hukamname to all the Sikhs around the world that, you know, next year during the time of Holi, everyone will assemble at Sri Anandpur Sahib Ji, and we will celebrate Hola Mohalla. So all the Sikhs next year, in 1 year, in 1701, all the Sikhs gathered at Anandpur Sahib Ji. Satguru Ji also mentioned in the Hukamname that Singho kam tiyar bar tiyar. Bring your shastar, bring your kode, and we will play Hola Mohalla in Anandpur Sahib. So all the Sikhs gathered, in next year in 1701 at Anandpur Sahib Ji, they play Holi. And then, you know, when we read Pai Nandlal Ji and when we read Iतिहास, we find that the whole scene of Holi, the first Hola Mohalla, it was such a beautiful scenic view. Pai Nandlal Ji has mentioned in his whole Kavita and Diwane Goya what the scene was like. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj, adorned with all the shastar, kalgi at his dastar, sitting on a horseback with the shastar on him, and he's traveling from Sri Kesgarh Sahib to Holgarh Sahib. So Anandpur Sahib has 5 kile, and Holi is celebrated at Holgarh Sahib. Holgarh Kila is named after Holi, where Hola Mohalla was celebrated. So Satguru Ji goes from Kesgarh Sahib to Holgarh Sahib, spraying that gulal all over the Singhs, and Singhs put the gulal on Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj, and it's just beautiful scene. And when Sadhguru Ji and all the Singhs come to Holgar Sahib Ji, then Sadhguru Ji arranged mock battles. What happens is the whole Sikh army, the whole Khalsa army is divided into two battalions. One battalion is given the charge of the whole Garh Killa, that they will be the defenders of the sport. And the other battalion becomes attackers. So it's like Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji is exercising the military warfare skills. So, Singhs learn how to attack and defend. So one group attacks and the other defends. And Sadhguru Ji is sitting there, he's giving instructions that Singho, do like this, attack from this way. And the defender is saying like, do like this. So Ityas says that the whole mock battles went for 4.5 hours. The attackers were wearing yellow color clothes. The defenders were wearing white color clothes. It went for 4.5 hours. At the end of it, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj gave medals and prizes to all the gallantry, all the Singhs who showed gallantry skills. The whole militaristic viewpoint that Hola Mohalla, the literal meaning of Hola Mohalla, Hola comes from the word Halla, that's being attacked, and Mohalla comes from the word that the neighborhood. So the neighborhood in which attack is taking place. So that's the literal meaning of Hola Mohalla. And Sadhguru Ji gave it like, this is the time when my Singhs would practice their spiritual as well as their militaristic skills, so that the Sant Sipahi Miri Piri, that Miri Piri principle being instilled in the Sikhs during the time of Hola Mohalla.
Yeah. So then that's a really good cover of how was the reasoning for us celebrating it and how it came to be. So then quickly, because you brought up, you sent this photo beforehand as well, and then you also mentioned the Pi sub just then as well. I'll just zoom in real quick. Then we can, there we go, better. So this is something you sent through saying it is a translation of what he wrote from an account of Hola Mohalla itself.
Yes, Pai Nandalal was contemporary of Gobind Singh Maharaj Ji. He was the court jewel of Gobind Singh Ji's court. He was a highest of the poets. And on the occasion of Holi, on the occasion of Holi, he composed a beautiful poem in Persian language. So the picture that we are seeing on the screen, it's one of the translation of a very short passage. Although the translation, I must say, does not do any justice to the beauty of the words what Pai Nandalal Ji wrote. But I'll just go through it. Pai Nandalal Ji says, when my king, Shaham, so king in Persian is called Shaham, when my king wore the colored neckcloth, both the worlds became happy through his kindness. One who happened to see his divine face achieved the objective of his life. Goa's heart has only one desire, that he should sacrifice himself on the dust over which the Guru's devotees pass. So that's the Nimarta of Pai Nandalal Ji, and that's the whole passage in Diwan Govind. It's pretty long. So it describes all things, what Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj were wearing, what was they doing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful poem, and I encourage everyone to go through it, read it. It's just a beautiful writing.
So then, based on the accounts and the writings there as well, is it that during Hola Mohalla, we, like you mentioned, we show off, we take pride in our combatant skills, gatka and everything, but then we also dress really in like colors matching this vividry image of sorts? Is that also a key part of Hola Mohalla?
Yeah. So, after the time of Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj in 1701, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji said that, Hola Mohalla from this day will be celebrated every year. So at present, the young Singhs, they have preserved this memory of Sadhguru Ji. They celebrate Hola Mohalla every year at Anandpur Sahib the day after Holi. And the whole occasion goes for like 4 or 5 days long. So the Singhs, the young Singhs, or all the Singhs, they would, put on that deep blue clothes. They would tie all the malle with chakkar, chandatode on it. And they would carry their swords, their bows, and the rifles. And they would, in the similar way as Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj did, they would enact mock battles. They would ride on their horses with their sparkling barche or the spears in their hands, and they would do gatke, they would do wrestling, and sword fencing, and all those stuff. So that the whole memory is still being preserved by young Singhs, and it does have a huge significance in our history.
Yeah. because that when you mentioned that as well, it reminds me. One thing I saw in like preparation for this episode itself, I think it was National Geographic did a short documentary on Hola Mohalla itself, and then they got footage from Anandapur Sahib and everything, and it was really cool to see that this Sikh event was also covered on this kind of global stage itself, which was really, really amazing to see the hundreds of thousands of people that rock up to come and take part in it, to watch on in any aspect of it itself. One thing though that I did want to bring up and mention with this is because it does take place directly after Holi, and obviously as you mentioned in the history wise, it kind of was brought up indirectly because of it. Is there sometimes a blend between people celebrating Hola Mohalla and Holi? So Sikhs, maybe they bring like Holi, from what I understand, is the colors and everything of that, but then they mesh that into Hola Mohalla. Do you think that is a common thing, and is that also something that takes away from what we're meant to be doing during Hola Mohalla?
I think what happens is when the cultures, when there are religions and the cultures in one place, some of the things get mixed up, and there's no distinction between that this is mine or this is yours. Just like the sun, every country in the world takes the heat from the sun, and the same way a culture or a festival is not particular to one particular religion. It's like everyone's. But we got to understand the significance. What the significance? Why Guru Sahib Ji started Hola Mohalla? We could have been just celebrating Holi. There was no big reason. I don't see any reason not to celebrate Holi. But Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji made the Holi into Hola Mohalla. Why? Because he wanted his Singhs to be practicing their spiritual and martial practices. They want them to be Sthiyar Bhartiya. They want them to be saint soldier. So that significance, what's the meaning behind a festival? That's what we got to understand. And if we are not doing what Guru Sahib Ji's intended us to do, then we are on the wrong.
Yeah. So as long as you maintain that meaning and you maintain the core of what is meant to be done, that's what counts.
Yeah.
So then, with that itself said, what are experiences? Do we want to talk about what we've seen in Australia itself done with Hola Mohalla? Is there anything that you've experienced that you've seen and you might want to bring up?
I honestly haven't. I have seen people celebrating Holi at university campuses, Indian societies organizing their events, but I've not seen the scale of, especially the Hola Mohalla on the scale it's being celebrated in Australia. It could be celebrated in other cities, Melbourne or Sydney, the big cities, but not in Brisbane. But they have the Devans and the Kirtan Devans at the Gurdwara, but doesn't have those mock batters and the parades or the wrestling competitions.
Yeah.
They don't have. Yeah.
I remember in a few years ago now, there was something. Maybe it's happened multiple times. At least there's one I remember because I was there. I took some videos and everything as well of Hola Mohalla celebrated in Craigieburn. There was Kirtan. They had the Punch Piata on horses, I believe, walking and then they did a charge thing. I don't know the specific names of these, so sorry if you are out there. Maybe Gursahej, you know yourself. I don't know the specific names of any of the maybe duties that occur during it, so forgive me for that. But yeah, so I'll overlay some footage from that so everyone can see what I'm referring to. But it was very lively as well, and it was really cool to see.
So just the historical significance of the Holi, how Singhs during and after the time of Gobind Singh Sahib Ji felt about Hola Mohalla. So the first point was, we all have seen Char Sahibzade. We know that the point when Gobind Singh Maharaj and all the Singhs vacate Anandpur Sahib and they leave the fort. During that procession, at the rear of the whole convoy was Baba Ajit Singh Ji. He was guarding the rear of the convoy. And when he was, traveling on his horseback, he would stop after a few steps and he would look back at Anandpur Sahib, the Killa, and he would just, stare at it. Then again, he would walk few more steps and then watch it back. And he was doing like it continuously. There was Bhai Chopper Singh nearby. He asked Babaji, why are you stopping and seeing Anandpur Sahib again and again? So Babaji Singh ji said, Babaji, Bhai Sahib ji, I was born in this place. I grew up here. My brothers grew up here. I played with our Singhs. I learned Gurmat and Shastra Vidya here. Our beloved Khalsa was born in this very place. Will we not ever come back to this place? And all the Singhs listening to Babaji Singh ji, they all had tears in their eyes. They were doing Bairag. And Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj saw this thing. He came near to the Singhs and he asked Bhai Chopper Singh, what happened? Why are Singhs doing Bairag? Bhai Chopper Singh said, Bhai Chopper Singh explained the whole situation to Guru Sahib Ji. Then Guru Sahib Ji walked towards Babaji Singh and all the Singhs and he said, Singho, Bairag na karo, don't cry. Every year when our Khalsa, when they come back to Anandpur Sahib to celebrate Hola Mohalla, we will be amongst them. We will be in them, we will be celebrating with them. That's the time. And even to this day, when Niang Singhs, when they celebrate Hola Mohalla in Anandpur Sahib Ji, at the head of the whole procession, they have one horse, which has all the ornaments and the gold and the velvets on them, and nobody rides on that horse. And they believe that Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj himself rides on that horse, and he heads the whole procession. So that just that legends that going on in Punjab. And one of the very interesting point that I felt was during the time of Missile Raj, during the time of just saying Alu Walia, all the Singhs again that continuing that Maryada, they would gather Anandpur Sahib, and after the whole four-day celebration, all the Singhs would talk to each other and they would say that it's very hard to gather all the Khalsa forces at once. Why not use this opportunity? Why not all the Khalsa forces are here, we should march to Delhi and we should attack Delhi and conquer it. So for 14-15 years, this was happened that all the Singhs would gather at Anandpur Sahib for Hola Mohalla and later they would attack Delhi. So it happened for that. And they had a bola at the time that Jada Billi Marti or the Delhi Marli. It's as easy as it is to capture a cat, it's same way it's easy to capture Delhi. So it just, that's Hola Mohalla, that the martial spirit, that Maryada, it's being continuously done to this day.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very interesting account. Do you mind if I ask, where do you find this information through any books you read, or do you find this information through online sites or any passed down through family members or friends?
All these stories, all of this is being properly documented in grunts like Sri Guru Panth Prakash or Surya Prakash, or even if you read accounts from the Persian sources at the time, read the account of Sohan Lal Suri and Hari Ram Gupta. All of these people testified to this accounts, and the British have written of all of these things.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know, just so that way we can, if anyone is interested in also doing a little deep dive, they can just go to anything that you've just mentioned and kind of do some of their own research as well if they wanted to. But nonetheless, is there anything else you wanted to touch on regarding Hola Mohalla before we wrap this episode up today?
I think just to finish it off, it comes back to the point that what does Hola means for us? Does it have the same effect it did during the Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj's time? My answer is, of course, it is. Hola for us today is a reminder to be Tayyar Bar Tayyar, both spiritually and physically, and make efforts to progress on our journey to become Sant as well as a Sipahi. Use this opportunity to go to Gurdwara to learn something new. Learn your martial spirits, learn Gatka, learn Kirtan. The occasions were formed by Guru Sahib Ji for this purpose. My Singhs would come out of their busy lives, their work and everything, and they would devote their time to learning Gurmat. And what Gurmat is a huge ocean of learning. It's just a Sikh, you learn every day. And that's the purpose of every occasion that we celebrate.
Wow. Okay. Amazing last few words to end that episode on. So thank you to Gursahej for joining me today. Thank you to everyone out there for watching this episode. Please, I hope you have got something out of us discussing and Gursahej doing a lot of the talking, which is always great because he has a lot of information to give, sharing the history about Hola Mohalla and concepts here and there. Please like this video, leave a comment down below, share your thoughts. Did you go to Gurdwara? Did you go do something for Hola Mohalla? Let us know. Obviously, restrictions may be in place wherever you are, but nonetheless, please follow Voice of Youth for more episodes. Thank you to everyone, and I would like to laugh at the Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.